stories that lift each other, give hope to push us further, and encourage one another.
Before Housewives of Atlanta made her a household name, Cynthia Bailey was no stranger to the camera. Cynthia Bailey is a model, a wife, a mother, and an entrepreneur. With countless jobs in modeling, Cynthia dominated print, video, and even made cameos on television and in commercials. This small-town Alabama girl took her notoriety to new heights, landing herself a peach on the Housewives of Atlanta franchise. And after remaining there for 11 seasons, Cynthia has proven that good girls don't always finish last.
That's right, you're tuned in to another episode of Behind the Scenes Beauty, and I have with me supermodel herself, 50 Cent. What are you now? 52 Cent?
54 Cent. We cut it off at 50 Cent.
Oh, okay, we're going to keep it at 50. Yes. 50 Cent, Cynthia Bailey. Thank you so much.
Derek, hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. So, here on Behind the Scenes Beauty, we talk all things beauty, and we also talk about your beginnings. We know you as a housewife on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but there was a Cynthia Bailey that was working in this grind a whole lot longer before then, and she was a supermodel. And you stand out to me. Every time I think about you, I think about the Nothing But Love video with Heavy D.
Yeah.
You were so beautiful in your little bob and the wind blowing.
Come on, man.
Yes. I was like, she is beautiful.
Yes.
So that's every time I think about you, for some reason, I always think about Nothing But Love. So anyway, tell us where you from.
Okay.
And how you ended up in modeling, because so
Absolutely.
Go ahead, start.
Well, I am originally from Alabama.
Okay.
I'm from a small town in Alabama called Tuscumbia, Alabama, which is only known for being the birthplace of Helen Keller. Y'all remember Helen Keller?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now me.
Okay.
So, humble, small town girl beginnings. I actually, one of my biggest memories from where I am from is that I went to a predominantly white high school. And I actually was the first African-American homecoming queen of my high school with the all-white court. And, at that time, Alabama, I'm taking you back. Y'all know I'm a little older now. At that time, it's crazy because there was still a lot of racism in my town. We actually had a Ku Klux Klan headquarters in my town.
Oh, wow.
It was real. They would march and stuff. It was crazy.
Wow.
So, but anyway, grew up in, just kind of lower mid-income family. We weren't balling out, but we had enough. We had a house, we had food. It was good. I grew up, being outside, fighting, playing, trains would there was a train behind my grandmother's house, so doing all kind of dangerous stuff that I could have been killed doing probably. Just normal stuff, normal life.
So question, were you a dreamer? I always wonder that people that come into prominence and come to be known and famous, is it some innate feeling that you feel like one day I'm gonna be something great? Or were you one of those people that just thought you were going to get a small little job in Alabama and live your life? What was your thoughts or dreams and visions as a child?
I think I was a dreamer. I'm pretty sure I was a dreamer because I always kind of felt like where I was not where I was supposed to be. It's is this my real family? Did I get kidnapped and somebody dropped me off to these people? Because I'm supposed to be somewhere fabulous and doing way more than this.
Right.
And I always knew there was more. And again, just kind of going back to, the one moment where I won Homecoming Queen. Once that happened, I felt like it kind of gave me the confidence to feel like, well, wow, that's pretty cool. That's making a little bit of small history for me, for my life at such a young age. What else can I do? So my problem was I didn't have a lot of people around me that, I don't want to say they were not dreamers, but they really weren't in a lot of ways. They were just workers, just hardworking people, had jobs, families. I didn't see a lot of inspiration just in terms of, I didn't know anyone that was a singer or an actor or a model. I didn't have that around me, so I had to figure that part out. And, even getting a hold to an Ebony or a Jet or whatever, that was hard. But when I did, it was like, oh my God, like there is something else outside of Alabama. And I was always curious to see what that was. So yes, I guess to make a long story long, in this case,
no, you're fine.
I was a dreamer, but I didn't know that my dreams could really come true at that time. But I was curious to see where my ambition could go.
Nowadays, like with social media and everything, it's a little easier to try to really become a model. You know what I'm saying? And now there's more information out there. There's the internet. You can research it.
Correct.
So you're in Alabama. Where do you even start? Where do you go to say, you know what, I'm going to pursue this dream of modeling? How does that come about?
Well, you know what's funny? I actually was, I don't want to say discovered, but I was kind of discovered by a modeling scout.
Oh, wow.
Once I was homecoming queen. It all goes back to homecoming queen. We just keep on coming back to the homecoming queen. Once I was homecoming queen in my high school, I actually entered, I entered a homecoming queen pageant.
Okay.
And it was all homecoming queens in the South. First and only pageant that I've ever been in. Enter the pageant, do my thing, participate, don't win anything, don't place. I didn't really have any talent, to be honest. So, I couldn't sing, I couldn't dance. So I recited Dr. Martin Luther King's poem, I Have a Dream. Speaking of dreaming.
Right.
So I guess I was a dreamer.
Okay, look at you.
I was already putting it in the universe.
It out.
And I didn't even know it. So I recited that poem, and I thought I did a good job. But anyway, the judges, I guess, didn't place, didn't even get Miss Congeniality. And y'all know I'm nice. But what did happen was, one of the judges was a model scout from Wilhelmina Models in New York City.
Oh.
And after the pageant was over, she approached me and asked me had I ever thought about modeling. And I was like, modeling? I'm still salty. I didn't even place in this pageant. What do you mean? And
so how old are you about this time?
17, 18.
Okay.
She gives me a card. She's like, give me a call if you ever want to come to New York and model. So I was like, wow. So I didn't win, but I kind of won because I was the only one that she actually approached about a modeling contract. So a couple of months later, she just kind of planted the seed, and I didn't know there was a fashion industry. I didn't know models. I didn't know anything about this world, and finally somehow I ended up talking my parents into letting me go to New York. Well, to see if it could happen. And I thought, honestly, I was like, okay, well, if it doesn't work out, I could always go back home. And I came, and slowly but surely, it ended up working out for me. And I never went back. I would go back to visit, but that trip turned into my life here in New York for many, many, many years. And that one decision to come to try to see if I could model changed my whole life.
Wow.
And once I got to New York, I knew I wouldn't leave it.
You was home?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was home.
So I work with Iman a lot, and in conversations with her, she's talked about how she knew nothing about fashion. She knew nothing about a fashion magazine, and similar to what you just said, what was the thing that was a shell shock for you, entering this world? What was the most oh my God moment when you first started modeling?
Oh, for me, it was seeing the most beautiful people I'd ever seen, the most beautiful guys, the most beautiful girls. And I thought I was cute, for Alabama. I thought I had it going on. But now I'm walking into castings and I'm like, wait a minute, that's 100 of the baddest, most beautiful, stunning, alien-looking, gorgeous people that I've ever seen in my life. I just wasn't around pretty people all the time. It just was amazing to see how gorgeous everyone was. That was shocking. I was like, this is weird. I'm just in the cute club now. It's crazy. That was weird for me.
Yeah.
I'd never seen everybody was just it was.
Who were
crazy.
some of your peers at the time? Somebody when they were casting, they were probably it was a toss up because they were your peers, kind of.
Right. Karen Alexander,
Yeah.
but she was already like kind of famous at that point.
Gotcha.
So I would only get the job if she wasn't available. Thanks, Karen. Who else? Beverly Johnson was my mentor.
Okay.
She was someone that I just kind of felt like I looked similar to. So I always kind of followed, like, well, what is Beverly doing? And then I got an opportunity to meet her, and she just kind of took me in. And we're friends now. Like, you know, her daughter, she became my mentor. Who else? You know, it was kind of Beverly and Karen, really. And they both, like, I wasn't going to get anything they were going to get. So I was just waiting on them to to kind of phase themselves on out, or at least I could get whatever they couldn't do. But those were the two.
Okay, so like in this season, we're talking a lot about like African Americans in the culture, in the beauty industry, and all of that stuff. How was your experience being an African American young woman in the beauty industry? Did you find that you were treated differently, or at that time was everything pretty? What was that time like?
For me, it was okay. It wasn't that crazy for me coming into the industry when I came in, because at that point, you know, Iman and Beverly and a lot of the other ladies were already, you know, they had already opened up that door. You know, Naomi was already, you know, a supermodel. And I kind of came in right in the middle of that whole supermodel era, which is gone. Like the Linda Evangelistas and all these folks that were a part of that movement. What was a little challenging was, you know, there just didn't seem like there was enough jobs ever for the models that were here. It was always us all competing for the same job, because, you know, they didn't use that many.
They were only going to have that one.
Yeah, it was like there was one job for a black model. We all were sitting there trying to get it. And so that's changed a lot. That's changed a lot. So it was very competitive. Like when you got a booking, you really felt like you accomplished something, because at that point you had beat out God only knows who to get the booking, because, you know, the jobs were so limited for us.
Okay. So what is a moment in your career, in your modeling career, that stands out to you the most, that is like a cherished moment that you will always like hold dear to?
Yes. Well, there is two, if I can share two.
Yeah, definitely.
The first one was my cover of Essence, my first cover of Essence magazine with the afro.
Yeah.
That stands out because I remember going to that casting. It was the first time I met the makeup artist Reggie Wells.
Oh, yeah.
And Mickey Taylor. And they were doing the casting. And I remember walking in, and it was like all the most beautiful black models I'd ever seen. It had to be like 80 girls in there. And I remember when it was my turn, of course, as soon as I walked in, I was like, oh, great, well, I'm not gonna get this. These girls are beautiful. At that point, I was still kind of new to the game. I didn't really have my little personal style together. I was still kind of country. So I was like, oh man, okay. But I remember going in, and Mickey was looking at my book, and Reggie Wells comes over to me, and he's like, where you from, pie face? Because I had my face was rounder, and I was like, oh my God, who's this crazy man? And I was like, Alabama. And he was like, yeah, pretty face. And Mickey started looking and whatever. So I was just like, all right. I leave, and this was before cell phones. So after I left the cast, I went to the phone, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know I did the casting for Essence. There was a lot of girls there, I don't know how I went. And they were like, oh, they booked you. And I was like, oh my God, they did? I was like, I just left there. It's like, oh yeah, they loved you. And I ended up, and it was not for the cover. It was just for like a beauty shoot. A beauty shoot. And I think it was with Matthew Jordan Smith. Okay. Remember Matthew? And we did the shoot. And then after they did the shoot, I guess maybe a month later, they were like, oh, they're going to put you on the cover. I was like, oh my God, what? This is crazy. And then I went on, and that cover did very well. And I went on to get a second cover. And the reason why that cover was so special, this is when I had the short hair, very, very short, which I did very well with that. I remember asking Susan Taylor, I think it was Susan, it was either her or Mickey, I can't remember. I said, for this cover, I said, can my name be on the cover? And at the time, they didn't put the models' names on the cover. And they went back and forth, and they started putting the models'
What
names
made
on
you
the
ask
cover.
for that?
I don't know what made me ask for that. I just thought, you know what? This is my second cover. People know my face, but everyone doesn't know my name.
Yeah.
And this was right before they started using a lot of celebrities. You know, we were still models were actually still being booked to do those covers. And I just thought, well, all they can do is say no, but I wanted people to know not only the face, but also the name.
Did you ask confidently, or did you ask sort of like,
No, I must have been pretty confident. They put it on there.
They did it.
So it worked out. I think I just, respectfully just said, hey, how come they don't put the names on the magazine?
Yeah.
Like I would love for my name to be on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reason was that they didn't do it in the first place, but they did it. And I think they have been doing it ever since.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you do, because like I said,
But
your second one.
The second one, going back to your girl Iman, I was a part of her book spread with
all the black
models that she wanted to represent her in her book. And that was iconic. Like that's still one of my favorite photos, because I think that may have been the first time, and I don't think it's happened since, that a number of black models that were successful and famous and in the game at that point all came together for this shoot with Annie Leibovitz, which ended up running in Vanity Fair magazine.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
shoot.
that was a big deal.
So beautiful, Tyra.
And I was sitting like front and center.
Yes, you were. I think you was like,
come
I
on.
know your pose, bro.
I had a little rag
Yes,
on.
you sure did. Yes.
I sure did.
You had the little pose. I remember.
Yeah, that was a huge moment for me because I was never a supermodel.
Yeah.
I know some people may say it, and I thank you, I appreciate it. But when you're working in the industry and you see, the Tyras and the Naomis, like my girl Beverly Peele at the time, the level that they were doing it on. I was a successful model, a working model. I've worked with amazing people. I've done extremely well, but I never felt like I was a supermodel. I was never really in Vogue and all that stuff. So, but I am very honored that people look at me like that. But yeah, to be in the room with them and to be in a photo with them, it was pretty validated. I was like, nah, I am a supermodel. Yeah. Now I feel like one.
You
I'm really over here with
were,
them.
and you
Beverly,
fit right in.
Naomi,
Yes.
Iman,
Yes.
Tyra. I was like, and I felt like I belonged there.
Yeah, you did.
I
You did,
felt like
and you fit right in.
I did.
my gosh.
So that was my moment where I really felt like, okay, I have arrived. My work is done here.
Okay.
I can do whatever else now.
So, and this is a personal, probably nobody else care about this, but I'm going to ask you about Heavy D because so anybody can tune out at this little portion right there. But I was such a fan. I grew up on him and his hip. So were you just casted in that, or did you have a relationship with him? Did you know him in any kind of way, or?
Both. I did know him. We were friends.
Okay.
Great guy. Miss him so much. And I was casted for it as well. Even if I was not his friend.
Gotcha.
I think I would have probably been a part of that video.
Okay, cool.
And it was cool. That was a fun video. That was, thinking about my days in New York, that whole era just coming up with Diddy and, Heb. And when I first moved to New York, Al B. Shore was he was like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
He was like a big star. It's fun to look back on my whole journey, because I was there when the fashion industry and the music industry started to kind of
collide together.
Yeah, because first it used to be the fashion industry. Those guys weren't going to the shows in Europe. You know what I mean? They were, they didn't know anything about that. That was not what they were doing, and they were just strictly music.
Yeah.
And then it all just kind of,
melded together.
Yeah.
Okay. So, did you do other videos and all that stuff?
Yeah, I did. I was a little video. Well, I won't say video.
You was a video.
I mean, I was a lead in all the videos.
I was a video model. I was a big time video model.
But I had a good little video run. I was in D'Angelo's video, Brown Sugar. Okay. I was in Heavy's video, Nothing But Love. I was in, that was a black rock band, I think Living Color.
Okay.
I did a video with them. I did a music video for Wynton Marsalis that we shot in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
I did, and I know there's like a big one that I'm forgetting, but
Well, I'll ask you this question, because did it feel like it invalidated your regular modeling career, or was it fine? You know what I'm saying?
No, it was good because I was doing some cool ones. I did one for the group New Order. I did one for Hall & Oates. Like I was getting like some
the good one.
Yeah, I was getting the good videos. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. Yeah, Mama was actually kind of the videos that I was doing. Actually, were kind of like parlaying me kind of toward the acting.
Gotcha.
Actually, because I would, be playing like, a love interest, but like, it'd be like a little movie going on. So.
Okay, so let's talk about acting. Is that something you next was your pursuing? The thing you went to pursue, or did it feel like if you're doing one, the next best logical thing is to go ahead and try to pursue acting as well?
For years, until I, ended up moving to Atlanta and, becoming a reality star, my focus was 100% on modeling. Okay. And that's just because I was really successful with it. I had all my main clients, the Nordstroms, Macy's, Talbots, like for years. Saks, and I was just busy doing it, so I didn't have time to really even think about acting because I was getting my bag of modeling. And I was very happy and content with that. So I can't say that I ever was like passionate about it. It just wasn't the time for me at that time. But things would come up, like I remember having to fly back from Paris to do the Cosby Show.
Hey.
Hi, Pam. Hello, Slide.
Hello, Shaniqua.
How you doing?
Fine.
Bye, Slide.
Goodbye, Shaniqua.
Oh, wow.
And that happened very early in my career. And I flew back to audition for it, and I got, I auditioned, with these two other actresses who were actresses, and I got it, and I was like, oh, wow. So I did like a couple episodes of The Cosby Show.
How did that feel, being how big The Cosby Show was at that time?
Oh, my God. It was like hitting the lottery. I couldn't even believe it because I watched The Cosby Show. I was like, wait a minute, I'm really here at a table read with Lisa Bonet and Malcolm Jamal Warner. See what this is? Bill Cosby, Felicia Rashad. I mean, how many stars came from that show? Right. So it was incredible. It was almost like surreal to me because I mean, they were like famous already. Like, models like coming up, like we never looked at each other like we were famous like that. These folks were on TV. That was different. So it was great. I actually recently posted.
The
clip. My name was Shaniqua Watkins, and I remember I had 2 lines. It was "Hi Slide," "Hi Slide," and that was it. I think my other episode I had something else, but I can't find that clip.
I feel like
hopefully
I remember Slide.
Shaniqua Watkins. So yeah, it was really cool. And then that's as you go through your life, everything that you do. When you have those moments like the Cosby Show, like the Vanity Fair shoot for Iman, everything you do just inspires you and motivates you to think, well, what else can I do? Like, this is good. Like I must be where I'm supposed to be. God has placed me where I'm supposed to be because this seems to be working out for me. Right. And you just keep going, and you just keep being inspired, and you just keep being motivated, and you're like, okay, well, let's see what else is gonna happen.
Okay, so how do you go from modeling to reality TV? How did this even come about?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I was living in New York, modeling, minding my business, and a mutual friend of mine invited me to come to Atlanta for a birthday party. Okay. And for whatever reason, I ended up going, and I ended up meeting my ex-husband, my now ex-husband, Peter. Okay. And we all hung out, we had fun, whatever, and we just kind of connected. We kind of hit it off. And, we ended up dating. He was in Atlanta, I was in New York, so I was going back and forth. He was, coming back and forth. And after about a year of dating, we decided, okay, who's gonna move where? And he was building his restaurant at the time, Uptown. And So it just made sense at the time for me to move there, but I had Noelle was like maybe 7 or 8 years old at the time. You know, she had her full-time nanny. Like, I kind of had my situation worked out in New York. But I am a Pisces. I am a lover of love. And I just go with my gut. I just follow my heart. And my heart said, you know what, just move to Atlanta. Just see what's going to happen. And when I tell you that was the best thing that I ever did, because right after I moved, the recession hit. Everything changed, the world changed, like all the modeling, everything started kind of drying up and everyone was going into, like the world literally changed. As soon as I got on the plane and left, I just felt like everything changed. So anyway, when I got to Atlanta, a couple of different people would approach me about like, hey, you ever thought about going on Housewives? Didn't need somebody like you on Housewives? Like, I followed your whole career, whatever. Now, you may not know this, but I'm not a high conflict kind of person. I really don't like drama. I'm really not a conflict person. Like, I'm like, okay, how can we get on the side of peace, love and light? How can we fix it? That's me. Right. So to be on a drama-based reality show, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna be a good fit for this. I don't think I'm gonna be a good fit for this. So, I don't know, at the time, I think timing is so important in life because at the time, they really wanted a Cynthia Bailey type at that time. They wanted somebody that had, that wasn't married to a football player or something, someone that was like self-made, had their own, life. I mean, I had a very fabulous life here. And, it just was the right time. That's all I can tell you. Because looking back, I'm like, wow, that's so interesting that I got casted for that show. So an interview turned into another interview, into a screen test. And the next thing I knew, they were also in, Phaedra Parks came on the same year as I did. Yeah. And, I didn't know Phaedra until, I came on the show. And I remember them telling me, well, there's another young lady, Phaedra, that we're really interested in, but we may have a friend as well. So we'll just, let you guys both start filming. And then whoever has the strongest storyline, I didn't even know what a storyline meant. I was like, oh, wait, do I have a story? What is the storyline about? Like, I just moved to Atlanta. Is that the storyline? Right. So whoever has the strongest story, we'll make them the housewife, and the other person can be the friend or whatever. And I was like, okay,
as long as the check clear on Friday. You know what?
Well, here's the thing. Like, the money was so, like, when you first get on reality TV, low. Like, it's so low that I'm not even going to put them out there and say what it was. It was so low. I may as well have paid them to come on the show at that point. It was so bad. Okay. But something in my spirit said, okay, just give it a try. And I actually have to give my ex credit too, because he was like, just, try it out and see what happens. I didn't know. I was like, do they have cameras in the house out the whole time? Like, weren't sleeping? Like, how does it all work? And I will say, I came on season 3. And shortly after I came on the show, I was like, what the hell have I done? This is crazy.
I think everybody needs a cocktail.
I thought that I was coming to Miami to get away from all my drama. Now here comes Nene and Kim with their drama. What happened to my relaxing weekend?
These folks are crazy. They are mean, and I just could not deal with this. But once I made it somehow through season 3, and I actually got married that season as well. Yeah. And Lord knows, I don't know how I pulled off a wedding that season because everything started happening. We started, losing money. When I tell you it was a mess.
But that was perfect for reality TV.
Well, here's the thing. I was like literally waiting for the season to be over so I could just be done with it. And I couldn't imagine them even inviting me to come back at that point because I thought this was a complete disaster for me. And I have a very perfectionist, personality, so I wanted to do a good job, but I'm like, okay, let me get this straight. All the girls hate me. We pretty much lost our money first season. Me and my husband and I are fighting like cats and dogs the whole time.
Why did you feel like all the girls hated you though?
Oh, they were so nasty. They were like calling me. They actually introduced me to Nene, so I was like her friend on the show. She kind of brought me in as her friend. And when I tell you, I remember just being so confused because I would be with her, and then she would be with the other girls, and then they would be mean. And then I remember, as a joke, giving her a friend contract.
Right.
And then this, I know you're gonna think I'm like a lunatic.
What do you have?
But I have like a friend contract.
Oh.
It says conditions.
A friend contract?
So say what now?
Thinking, okay, well, I got to put her on the contract because I don't know what kind of friends these ladies are. And it was a joke. They literally ran with it and made it seem like I was like single black female. Like I was stalking her. I was like, okay, so now I'm crazy.
Right.
I'm already in a crazy marriage. We done lost all our money and now I got to be a stalker too? Thank you. Thank you. First season. So that was a mess. But I, looking back, I think at that time I was like, you know what? Because now, and another memory I have is like the first episode I came on, I remember driving Noelle to school and we would always stop by, we would always go through the McDonald's drive-thru because she always wanted their like sausage biscuit thing and some orange juice, right? And we pull up to the drive-thru just like we always do. And the show I came on the night before. And same drive-thru we always go through. And the lady comes to the window and I'm, paying her. She's like, oh my God, you're the model. You're the model on Real Housewives. I was watching you last night. And I was like, there's no way I can be known and recognized in one day.
Right.
The show literally came on the night before. And I was like, this is crazy. So at that point for me, I was like, okay, now I can't become unfamous. So I may as well try to make it work. So I was like, if I come back the next season, I'm going for mine.
I'm ready for it.
So, and here I am. It's been 11 years now.
So so that's an interesting point. How did you manage that overnight? Did you realize the show? Because I'm assuming you weren't really a reality TV watcher, were you?
I was not.
So did you realize that it would have this much impact?
No, I did not. I did not. I had no idea how popular the show was, number one. And I didn't know, I knew the modeling industry. And I thought actors and actresses, I thought those were like celebrities and famous people. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it meant, to be on a reality show. I didn't know that there was this instant fame that came. We get famous before actors do because they have to actually be in a hit movie before they become famous and we know who they are, especially a new actor. Mm-hmm. But for us, 2 episodes in, they're like, we can't even go to the grocery store no more.
A good read session.
I'm telling you. So it was amazing to be not famous and then everybody knows who you are.
Right.
So that took an adjustment for me because I wasn't ready.
Gotcha.
And reality TV does not come with a manual. So you don't know how to prepare for it. You're like, wait, what? Okay, now everyone just knows all my business. They know, my whole life.
Right.
So.
Okay.
Yes.
So I have 3 more questions.
Yeah, I'm good.
So I'm going to ask you, relationship-wise, you talk about your ex on the show. Mm-hmm. You're now happily married to Mike
Very
Hill.
Happily, yes.
Were you scared to have this relationship be on the show after the experience with your last relationship?
Yes, and I'm still scared. If I could just lock him up in the basement when we film, honey, I would be fine with it. Yes, because, I love being on television. I eventually, as I transition off the show, I would like to do a show where where I don't have to have my family involved. Gotcha. Because, number one, they don't, my daughter never really signed up for this show. Mm-hmm. She was kind of part of my package, and she was my child, so she just kind of ended up being on the show from 8 years old. Now Noelle is 21 years old, and she kind of didn't have a choice. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And as far as my husband is concerned,
has she taken to it, or is she still?
Now she's taken to it, but before, when she was younger, she really fought it a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she she didn't, because she didn't understand it. She didn't understand the platform. She didn't,
Right.
It was for us, it's oh, we have to film today, Noelle, so you gotta get your hair done. And she's like, do I have to be in the scene, Mom? I'm tired. I'm sleepy. And I'm like, you gotta be in the scene. Okay. This is work.
Right.
But for a kid, it didn't seem like work because it just feels like, okay, how does this work? People coming over and us just talking in the kitchen about whatever we're talking about. So getting back to Mike, for us, for reality television stars, our life has to also be on the show. I can't have a whole husband out here and him not be on the show.
Right.
because then the fans are like, wait a minute, we want to see Mike because we just saw them on the red carpet in LA. How come he can't be on the show?
Right.
So with that said, when I was single after I went through my divorce, I never really cared about getting married so much again, but I wanted to, find love again and be in a relationship eventually. And I had to really think about, wow, like as long as I'm on the show, whoever I'm with has to be someone that at least has to be open to coming on the show with me. Like, I'm not saying Mike has to come over here and show out.
Right.
But he gotta walk to the kitchen every now and then.
Right.
He gotta pass through the scene every now and then so we can see that this man is actually in my life.
Right.
So, with that said, I was really grateful once, we fell in love and, the relationship became serious, that he was willing to actually do it, because it's like supporting my job.
Yeah.
Like, when I met him, he was working for Fox Sports, and I would go to work with him. Like, he'd go to work and I'd hang out and he's doing his thing and we'd have lunch together. So that's me supporting him. Well, my job, I'm a reality star. So you coming to work with me and actually being on camera is supporting me.
Right.
But I really try to, show my fans, because they want to see us, because I'm like, oh, Mike, #chill. 10, 10, 20.
Right.
So I don't board them out with Mike. So, of course, they want to see our journey together. But I try to not, have him, like, just end scenes when it doesn't make sense. Like, it's kind of like, okay, babe, this makes sense. Do you mind, filming with me for this? And same for Noelle as well. Noelle's a little older now, but I used to be, of course, very protective of what she did on the show. If there was a scene and we were, a bunch of girls talking around and we're just being messy and whatever, I obviously wouldn't want my child to just be chiming in going, yeah, girl, she's tired, honey.
Right. Okay. So I'll ask this question. What is one of the positives from doing reality TV, and what have been one of your negatives for doing reality TV?
That's easy. The positive, hands down, is the platform. I've been able to use this platform to promote businesses that I've started every season pretty much on the show. Just having, working for Bravo and NBC has been a great experience for me. Like, I do tons of commercials for the network. I do upfronts. Before COVID, I used to, travel to promote the show. Just having like a network family is great, because when this journey is over for me for the Real Housewives, like I said, it's been 11 years. And, at some point it will end. It feels great to be a part of a TV family where you can branch off and do other things with the network. Because I would eventually like to do, something that's not really a drama-based show, a reality show. I have other interests. I love the home space. Like, I'd like to go in and fix up houses, anything. Like, I love decor. I love cooking. I'd love to do a cooking show, for the network. Absolutely. I'm a really good cook. You don't want my potato salad.
Listen, I want your potato salad.
I put my potato salad up
Next trip I come to Atlanta, I'm calling
it's on.
Cynthia, where the potato salad?
All right, I will have them on deck. Okay. So, so it's just been great just in terms of just having this opportunity to get the exposure that I have. Like, Bravo has made me a household name. The Real Housewives of Atlanta, anywhere I go, not just in the United States, in the world.
Wow.
Like, my husband and I were in Ghana a couple of years ago, and the people there were like, #chill. Oh my God, 50 Cent. I was like, wow. Like, when you leave the country and people are, reciting things that you say on the show, you're like, this is crazy. Like, I'm real famous. I'm famous for real. I'm famous like in Dubai. Like, this is crazy. And I would say the negative for me, I really don't try to look at anything really as a negative at this point in my life. I would just say, for me personally, I think this show is very hard on maintaining real friendships on the show. I think there ends up being a lot of inner competition on the show, and instead of being like a true sisterhood, it just feels like, the friendships kind of come and go on the show. And that saddens me, because I like having friends.
Yeah.
I think I'm a good friend, and I like meeting good friends, and I like having a sisterhood with other women who are like-minded and who have things going on, the same as I do. So it's unfortunate. I feel like a lot of times in situations on the show when I fall out with someone, I often ask myself, if we weren't on television, would we be beefing about this bullshit?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Would it be that deep where
Right.
we have completely fallen out?
Right.
So I think it takes
Do you think, what was the answer to that? Do you think in some of
I don't
the
know.
arguments?
For me, I'm myself off the show and on the show.
Gotcha.
I don't play a different character on the show. You're gonna get the same Cynthia Bailey that you get now when them cameras come up.
Right.
And a lot of people think, a lot of times the way that I carry myself, I try to, have integrity. I try to carry myself with class. A lot of people equate that to being boring for reality television. But I refuse to believe that, all the fans that we have on the show, that none of them want to see examples of class.
Yeah.
Especially,
I love that.
You know what I'm saying? Like somebody want to see somebody classy.
Right.
You can't tell me
Everybody
all the
can't be
millions of
ratchet.
people that watch the Housewives of Atlanta just only want to see ratchet behavior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, so that's the one unfortunate thing. I'm trying to think negative. Honestly, I'm kind of I don't want to say a private person, but although we signed up for it, I get it. It just kind of sucks sometimes. Just a lot of the way we get criticized.
Have you gotten used to reading your name in a blog about a whole conversation or something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It just feels like there's such a disrespect when it just comes to our personal lives and our privacy. They're just they just drag us, child.
Yeah.
like nothing's off limits. Like when I tell you, they just really put us through it. So that was something that I had to get used to. And for me, I'm at the point now. I'm like, okay, I signed up for it. Just go ahead and drag me.
Right.
But you better leave Noelle alone. Leave Mike Hill alone. Leave my mama alone.
Right.
Because a lot of times, they don't care.
Right.
They try to go for your whole village.
Right.
And I think that's not cool.
Been the negative.
I get it. At this point, you can drag me from the Upper East Side to the Upper West Side, and I don't care because I'm very focused and I'm very secure and confident at this point with my position on the show and as a public figure and as a reality star and all of those things. I just know it comes with being famous.
Yeah.
It comes with, being a household name at this point. So I try not to take it personal, but I still have feelings.
That's right.
There's still blood running through these veins. So, that's why it's good to have, your fans that love and support you.
Yeah.
That is, thank you. Thank you to all my fans.
Aww.
Because sometimes, when, you're having a bad day or, I don't wake up every day doing a WAP. Okay. Sometimes it's a bad day. I go on my gram and, I just may read some of the comments and it's like, you're my favorite. I appreciate you on the show. Thank you for, whatever. And you're like, yeah, remember who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
People like me.
Okay.
I
know that's right. Okay, so you talked about having the platform to promote your businesses. Tell us a little bit about some of your businesses, because we know you had a lot of businesses on the show. You've had the Cynthia Bailey Agency.
Yep. That was my first business.
Yes.
Yep.
You got the wine.
The Bailey Wine Cellar.
Bailey Wine Cellar.
Yes.
So what are some more of the businesses?
Well,
because you have a bag line too, right?
I have a bag line, CB Vour. So I started my first business off with the Bailey Wine Cellar. And I started my first business off with it's a lot of Baileys. I named everything Bailey. Lake Bailey. The dog's name is Bailey. I mean, when I say I have branded Bailey.
Yes, you have.
I would have actually given my husband, I was going to say, instead of making my last name, Cynthia Bailey Hill, Mike Hill Bailey. I wanted to put it on his name too. He wouldn't let me do it though. One of the things that was important to me when I came on the show was to use the platform. Like, I'm going to be over here, with all this drama. I'm going to be, opening up some businesses as well. So the Bailey Agency School of Fashion was my first business for the obvious reason. The only thing I've ever done other than be a housewife is be a model. So I knew that that was something that I would, be successful with. And I think the next year I had my eyewear line, Cynthia Bailey Eyewear. Then it was Cargo by Cynthia Bailey, and now it's CB by Aurora. The Bailey Wine Cellar is my latest business. However, I do have a very successful partnership with Seagram's. I have my own Seagram's cocktail.
Okay.
It's a peach Bellini, and it's pretty cool. My picture's on the box, name's on the box, all of that good stuff. And that started, I think we started working together, Seagram's and I started working together in 2018.
Okay.
And that's been a great partnership because Seagram's is a women-focused company. They're all about women empowerment. I'm all about women empowerment. So it was a good fit. They make it. They've been around a long time. 50 Cent been around a long time.
Okay.
They can make some good drinks. I like a good drink as a reality star.
Need a good drink being around.
Need a good drink. Can barely do it without a drink at this point.
Need it.
So it ended up being just a really good fit. And I've gone on from, I'm one of those people, if you let in the room, you don't have to give me anything. Just let me in the room.
Yeah.
You let mom in the room, I'm gonna work it out. So what ended up happening was I had my own signature peach Bellini drink, and now after a couple of years of working with Seagram's, after a couple of years of working with Seagram's, I've become the brand ambassador for the entire Seagram's Escape line.
Congratulations.
So see what I did there? Mom took one job and turned it into 2 jobs.
Listen.
But that's what I do. So if you let me in the room, let me get in the room. You ain't got to give me nothing, but just let me in the room.
And I'm gonna show you.
And that all goes back to work ethic. Just kind of going back to kind of bringing the conversation full circle. Me growing up in Alabama, my grandmother was someone I looked up to. Her name was Frankie Mae Ford. May she rest in peace. But she was my first example of a Black female entrepreneur. And this woman had like 7 jobs.
I was gonna say, what were some of her businesses?
Oh my goodness, but she kind of came from that era also of like, she wasn't a slave, but in Alabama, she still picked cotton. So she, between that and then ended up working in a sewing factory. I remember like being, at her house, she'd be making hamburgers and hot dogs and these like fried apple pies and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing with that? She's like, oh, she sells them on her lunch break. And then she was like, has a bag of clothes and she fixes people's clothes and like a little laundry service. And then after that, she would go and clean like, some, houses and stuff for people. I'm like, this is crazy. But she was very successful. And, she had the nicest house on the block. And I just remember her telling me, as simple as it is, I really took those words and ran with it. She told me that as long as I was willing to do the work, to work hard, I could have anything I wanted. So I may not be the most talented or the funniest or the cutest or the finest, but let me tell you something.
Listen.
Mama can outwork you.
You are amazing.
I show up and I'm not even on time. I'm about 30 minutes early.
Listen, to be early is to be late, and to be on time.
Yes, and that stayed with me because a lot of people don't want to work. They want, the gifts and the luxuries of life.
Yeah.
But they don't want to work for it. Yeah. And, I always wanted my own. I never wanted anyone to pay my way or give it to me. Now, I'm not mad at, now you can put some on what I already have, but I need that financial independence.
I feel you.
My
last 2 questions.
Okay.
My question is, tell us a little bit about, you guys just took a trip.
Turks and Caicos.
So what is this called? Where is it going to be airing? I see it's a housewife mashup.
Housewife mashup. I don't know what the official name for it is yet because I keep hearing like All Stars, housewife mashup. Anyway, what it is it's a couple of different housewives from each franchise. Well, mostly all of the franchises. I think there's a couple of franchises that were not included this year. And they put them all in one house, in our case, in one villa in Turks Caicos. And for me, first of all, I was very excited and honored to be a part of the first one because the first one sets the tone for the ones that will come behind us. It's myself and my castmate and friend, Kenya Moore. And It's me, Kenya, Kyle Richards from Beverly Hills. It's Luann from New York, Ramona from New York, Teresa and Melissa from New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really go into it with any expectation other than to, I already had, my one friend, Kenya, coming with me. I was, very good friends with Luann as well, but we've never worked together and filmed together because, like I said, that changes, everything. And I was excited to get to know the other ladies.
Mm-hmm.
And, I pride myself on being, pretty easy to get along with and all that stuff. But
needless to
once
say,
we got there, some folks kind of showed out, got on my nerves. So I wasn't planning on bringing 50 Cent to Turks Caicos, but I had to fly 50 Cent in. 50 Cent had to show up. So I don't know what I'm going to look like on this show, because I'm pretty calm on Housewives for the most part, unless you just really pull me out of my bag and come for me, because I'm definitely no punk. But you have to come get me. If you come get me, I'm gonna get you together. And so it ended up being kind of interesting, because I definitely, my intentions were good and pure, and hey, and I just felt like I was not met with the same respect and support that I was giving out to certain folk. Y'all gonna have to watch the show because I can't call no names.
Listen,
so Mama bumped some heads with some folks and some people that you'd be a little surprised, and it's sad and unfortunate because, I'm gonna leave it right there. Watch the show.
All right. So I have a signature question that I ask everyone that comes on the show.
Okay.
Sometimes I forget, but today I remember.
Okay, all
So
right.
my question is, and this would be very interesting coming from you, such a beauty yourself.
Thank you.
What is beautiful to you?
Ooh, what is beautiful to me? What is beautiful to me is humility. Just being a humble person. I love, I get to be around a lot of incredible people. Rich, famous, iconic, name it, I've been around them. And the ones that I really enjoy the most are the ones who just are so humble still. It's like they're not even who they are. You know, it's like, wait, but you're so-and-so, but you're so nice and down to earth and just humble.
Yeah.
That really stands out.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't care who you are. If you could be whoever. And if you're just, if you don't have those kind of qualities, it's kind of a turnoff. It's like, okay, good for you that you're rich and famous, but you're not someone who I would want to be around.
Yeah.
So, humility.
Oh wow, I think that's so beautiful, and it's no one has ever said that on the show.
Oh, really?
Yes, I always think it's interesting to see what people have spoken about, but that point, because I am around a few people that I'm always like, wow, you're an amazing person, and at the level of who you are, you could be a butthole. I always say that,
I've met some that I was fans of, and then I met them, and I was like, me don't like you no more.
No more, and I should have not ever met you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I admire that quality in someone because I have that quality.
Yeah.
I'm a very humble person.
Yeah.
I think that's another reason why I'm very relatable on the show. I'm very liked on the show is because I could floss and do all this stuff, but I don't. And it's not because I don't have the means.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
It ain't even necessary.
But I could.
Right. Okay. Don't
Be
think
clear
that
about that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it's just not me.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking it. Do you? But it's just not me. I'm just Cynthia, and I think that the way I try to treat people, I want to be treated. I want people to treat me the way that I would like to be treated.
Yeah.
Simple stuff. I'm a simple woman at the end of the day. You know what I mean? The rules are not that complicated.
Right.
Be nice to me, I'll be nice to you.
Okay.
Give to me, I'll give to you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, humility is a beautiful thing. And in this industry that we're in, you don't see a lot of it.
No.
And when you see it, it's beautiful.
It is.
You're like, you have everything, and you still have that inner peace, that love, that kindness, that grace that we don't always see in this industry. So I like that.
Thank you, Cynthia. I love you so much. Thank you. I'm
Love
so
you
glad we found
too.
out.
I told you we was gonna work it out.
We're gonna work it out. Can I tell you, this is my signature line? Every interview, I'm always, I'm so glad we worked it out. Because everybody, I'm always juggling, trying to make it happen, and I'm glad we finally got to make this happen.
I got you.
Thank you so much.
You're very
Everyone,
welcome.
please make sure you follow Cynthia on Twitter. Make sure you follow her on Instagram.
Instagram, Facebook.
Where can they find your bags? Where can they...
Well, you know what? Just make sure you follow me on Instagram, and you guys can find all my stuff. Everything's in my bio, my CB by War, everything about my Be Better Foundation, my Bailey Wine Cellar, the Bailey Agency. What else I got? Oh, Seagram's Signature Peach Bellini.
All of
Real Housewives of Atlanta. Real Housewives of Real Housewives Mashup.
Right.
What else? You know, all of it. All things Cynthia Bailey.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.
Behind the scenes beauty.